A thin Louisiana rain is falling over St. Francisville, turning the gas lamps along the road into blurred halos of light. The Myrtles plantation rises out of the night like it's been waiting for centuries. Its white columns, long shadowed veranda, and windows that feel less like glass and more like watchful eyes. Inside, Bridget Marquardt is struggling to sleep in the Judge Clark Woodruff suite.
So I jumped up and I opened up the door. Nobody. And Nick's like, what's going on? And I was like, did you hear that somebody subbed up? He's like, yeah, somebody's out there. I'm like, nobody's out there. I get back in bed and I lay back down and my head is like killing me. Like I feel like I'm about to throw up. Like it's so bad. And then all of a sudden it sounds like we hear furniture moving.
I'm Nadine Bailey, and this is Haunted Canada. Today, I'm joined by actress, model, and podcast host known for her role in the reality TV series The Girls Next Door. In this episode, she shares how she became an expert on the paranormal and what are some of the scariest and most terrifying things she's experienced. This is Bridget Marquardt, Ghost Bunny. Bridget Marquardt first visited the Playboy Mansion to test prior to becoming Playmate and long before she became one of the most famous residents. Growing up, she had been fascinated by the old Hollywood connection, and unlike many visitors who encountered the estate through celebrity connections, Bridget has often described herself as someone who actively dreamed of being part of the Playboy world. That fascination eventually led her to move into the mansion in the early 2000s as one of Hugh Hefner's girlfriends. By then, the mansion was a living institution with traditions that had developed around everything from movie nights and holiday parties to the daily routines of life inside the estate. What made Bridget different from many residents was her curiosity about the mansion itself. She enjoyed exploring areas of the estate most guests never saw.
I think everybody knew that I loved ghosts and all that stuff. Hef giggled about it. But there was a place called Flamel College. It's out of the UK, and they actually did a certificate program in paranormal investigating.
One of her teachers was Troy Taylor, who was the author of more than 150 books on history, hauntings, true crime, the unexplained, and the supernatural in America. He's also the writer and co-host with Cody Beck of the American Hauntings podcast.
I did this course, and yeah, I got the certificate, and your final thing has to be like an investigation, and you write up a whole report on it. And my investigation was the Playboy Mansion. Then I did like the investigation, and I had Barry Taff, one of the original OG, he goes back to the 60s as far as paranormal investigating and stuff. And he was, there used to be a program at UCLA where they were studying all of this kind of stuff, and he was head of that whole program. So Barry came to the mansion and did an investigation, and basically he said he didn't find anything significant, which I'm not claiming that the Playboy Mansion is the most haunted place in the world. I'm saying there are things that happen there, but he said that I'm the conduit.
What Bridget was uncovering in the mansion tickled Hugh Hefner's spooky side.
I don't think he was necessarily a big believer. He did love Halloween. He loved ghost stories. He had a club when he was younger called the Shutter Club, where what they would do was sit around and tell spooky stories to each other and everything. So he was very open-minded about it, I would say.
The mansion's annual Halloween celebrations became some of the most memorable events shown on television, and Bridget was often behind the themes and planning. Bridget loved horror films, haunted attractions, ghost stories, and of course, paranormal investigations. So her themed parties were among the staff's favorite because of the creativity and effort she put into them. That interest in the paranormal eventually became one of the defining aspects of her public identity. While Bridget was still living at the mansion, VH1 invited her to participate on Celebrity Paranormal Project. The show consisted of 4 or 5 celebrities who were taken to an allegedly haunted location during the night and left until sunrise with the task of identifying paranormal activity. Bridget was joined on her episode by David Carradine, rapper Coolio, The Bachelor's Andrew Firestone, and pro boxer Mia St. John. They were dropped off on a remote island off the New England coast to investigate an abandoned industrial mill.
They don't tell you where they're taking you. Well, I mean, I know that I was flying into Maine. So I knew I was flying into Bangor, Maine. And then they pick you up, they take you to a hotel. You don't get to know who else is with you or anything. When it was time, they individually took us to this spot where, like, a boat ramp. And we were waiting. And then each of the members come, that's going to be part of our team. And they took us by boat to this abandoned textile mill. And this mill is like 400,000 square feet. It's on its own island, all rusted out. They told us it was on its own island and they took us out there by boat. I think I've researched it since and I found that it's not actually an island. You can get there by land, but I think they thought it was spookier that you have to go on this little motorboat out there and drop us off. They drop you off at dusk. There's no camera crew. They have it already set up with cameras around. And then we have to wear cameras on our persons and carry a camera with us. And so we're filming everything basically ourselves. And we have a base camp with a computer that is giving us like the history we are learning as we're there. And then I don't want to call them dares, but like little things that we have to go and do, like, and they'll team us off. And so they'll say, okay, Bridget and Coolio, you guys are going to go behind the boiler where this couple used to have a tryst and they were caught having a tryst behind this boiler. You two need to go back there and call out for the people, and so we did that. And I believe that the producers of the show probably rigged some of the things. I think they haven't admitted to it, but I will say that something whispered in my ear while I was in there, and you can't fake that.
The episode titled Tanner's Ghost aired on November 19th, 2006, and by then, Bridget Marquardt was one of the most recognizable residents of the Playboy Mansion. The first season of The Girls Next Door had become a surprise hit, transforming life inside the mansion into a public spectacle watched by millions. At the time, Bridget was in her early 30s, and while she was older than Holly and Kendra, it also gave her a different perspective, and she became more career-focused and more interested in creating opportunities beyond simply being one of Hef's girlfriends. She spoke about wanting to work in travel, lifestyle, and paranormal programming, and in 2008, she got her chance. She began filming Bridget's Sexiest Beaches for the Travel Channel, a television project built around her own personality rather than her connection to Playboy. It means she had to spend considerable time away from the mansion, and by the time she returned, the atmosphere had shifted dramatically. Holly ended her relationship with Hefner in late 2008. Kendra moved out soon afterwards, and by January 2009, Bridget moved out of the mansion after approximately 7 years as a resident. She was the last of the original Girls Next Door trio to leave. Following her departure from the mansion, her fascination with the paranormal eventually evolved into a career focused on the supernatural. By doing so, she shattered expectations.
I feel like back in the day, if you were into paranormal, you had to have a certain look. Or people expected that if you were into that, you must be goth or you must be emo or something. And I feel like I also wanted to say you don't have to have a certain look. Like you can be pink and girly and blonde and still enjoy this stuff. Like there's not a look to this. Like you can be anybody and love this. I feel like it's just sort of, the Ghost Bunny podcast is very much a passion project for me. Like I do it because I love it and I love hearing other people's ghost stories and I love hearing about new locations and I really get into it. Like I really get sucked into it. And I feel like it's opened the door to meeting all kinds of really interesting people that I wouldn't have met otherwise. It's giving me a chance to travel to places I wouldn't have gone otherwise, but because there's this haunted place in this town, I'm going. So I feel like it's opened a lot of doors for things, even though I just do it more for fun than for like a job. But I think everything I've done, I mean, from my degree to everything has like led up to me hosting my own podcast. And I had my own radio show back when I was with Playboy and everything too. So I feel like all of it sort of, you don't really understand how things are going to lead up to things until they do. And then there they are.
Blending her passion for the paranormal and travel have led her to some truly unique destinations, including the Myrtles Plantation in St. Francisville, Louisiana, where she said she had one of her most haunted experiences. The story begins in 1796, when David Bradford established a home called Laurel Grove on a Spanish land grant in what was then Spanish West Florida. Bradford had fled Pennsylvania after the Whiskey Rebellion and lived here in exile until he received a presidential pardon from John Adams on March 9, 1799. The original house was far smaller back then. It was more of what was considered a sustainable Creole cottage, which was surrounded by plantation fields worked by enslaved laborers. After Bradford's death in 1808, the estate passed through his family. But the house witnessed personal tragedies long before its ghost stories emerged. Yellow fever swept through the household in the 1820s, taking members of the Bradford Woodruff family and leaving a lasting mark on the property's history. The mansion seen today is largely the creation of Ruffin Gray Sterling and his wife, Mary Catherine Cobb Sterling, who purchased the property in 1834. They transformed a relatively modest house into one of Louisiana's most distinctive residences. The building was nearly doubled in size, renamed the Myrtles after the crepe myrtle trees growing nearby, and furnished with imported European pieces. Walking through the house today, many of the architectural details date from that time. The famous 125-foot veranda stretches across the front facade and inside. Visitors encounter soaring ceilings, elaborate plaster medallions, marble mantels, stained glass details, and the grand cantilevered staircase that has become central to the mansion's legends. The entrance hall itself runs nearly the entire length of the house, creating a dramatic perspective that would have impressed visitors arriving in the antebellum era. The mansion survived the American Civil War, but once it ended, the Myrtles entered a period of decline. The family's wealth was devastated because much of it had been tied to Confederate currency, which became worthless after the war. Mary Cobb Sterling was the owner until her death in 1880, when the home passed down to her son, Stephen. By then, the estate was burdened with debt, and he was forced to sell it by 1886. And over the next few years, it changed hands repeatedly, which reflected a broader pattern across the South, as former plantations struggled to adapt to the post-slavery economy. In 1891, the property was purchased by Harrison Milton Williams, whose family would be associated with it into the 20th century. With time, the focus gradually shifted from agricultural to the historic mansion itself. The property changed owners several more times until preservation efforts gained momentum, culminating in its listing on the National Register of Historic Places on September 6, 1978. By then, James and Frances Kermeen Myers had purchased the property and helped transform it into a bed and breakfast and tourist destination. Today, the plantation is best known for two aspects of its history: its agricultural significance and its reputation as one of America's most haunted homes, which is exactly what drew Bridget to it.
My husband and I, we were going to New Orleans for my birthday, and I was like, but what I really want to do is the Myrtles plantation. And so we flew into New Orleans, then we rented a car and we drove to Myrtles. It's closer to Baton Rouge, but we were spending time in the French Quarter. So we went there, we were just staying one night, and we had a room. It's so weird. I feel like before I went there, I had watched everything there was to watch on the Myrtles plantation. Anytime it showed up on any show, I was like into it. And I had read the book on it. I'd seen documentary, like everything. Like I felt like I knew everything there was to know about this place. And we get there and it was not what I thought it was going to be, which was very weird to me because I even knew what the stupid doorknobs were made out of. Like I knew everything about this place. And it was so weird that things weren't how I thought they were going to be. So that was also putting me in a very weird place. I thought it was going to be very bed and breakfast style. So like I thought the downstairs, you would kind of commingle with other people that were staying in the rooms, but it is not. You don't see anybody else that you're staying with. Your room is just your room. You have a key to that section. Nobody else is allowed in there. There's no commingling at all. And our room, how do I explain this? So the whole entryway when you walk in, the haunted stair, which the entryway has the haunted mirror in it. If you don't know, there's this giant mirror in the entryway and there's like a hand print on it. And people say that it never goes away. They try to wash it out and it doesn't go away. People say you can see the stairs from behind it and they see like little faces in it and everything. So all these things about the haunted mirror. And then the staircase, somebody died on the 17th step of the staircase. So the staircase is haunted. And then our room is at the top of those stairs.
The famous haunted stairs at the Myers is the grand stairs in the main hall. According to the best-known legend, William Drew Winter was shot on the front porch in 1871 and staggered into the house. The story says he climbed the stairs and collapsed on the 17th step where he died. Visitors and staff have long reported hearing footsteps on the staircase, seeing a figure ascending the stairs, or sensing a presence near the 17th step. The stairs and hallway are considered a conduit for ghosts, and as Bridget mentioned, the mirror has its own history. Legend says the spirits of Sarah Woodruff and two of her children became trapped in the mirror because it was not covered after their deaths, as was customary at the time. Visitors often connect reported sightings on the staircase with strange reflections, faces, or handprints said to appear in the mirror. During her visit, Bridget was headed to one of the most haunted rooms on the property. The Judge Clark Woodruff Suite is arguably the most historically significant bedroom in the Myrtles because of its location within the house and its connection to one of the plantation's most important families.
And it's a big room. And then there's also this huge sitting room at the top of the stairs. All of that was part of our room. And nobody else had, after the tours were done for the day, nobody else had access to that part of the room. I was like, so this is so weird. So like, we get everything. Like, why would you even stay in any other room?
It is the largest bedroom on the second floor, and the only room reached directly by the grand cantilevered staircase in the entrance hall. The other upstairs bedrooms are accessed from a separate rear staircase. This unusual layout makes the room feel almost like a private apartment at the top of the house's most dramatic architectural feature. For visitors like Bridget that are interested in the paranormal, this room sits at the center of several haunted legends.
My husband's not like, he's a major skeptic. He's better now, but he was before just sort of like doing this just because it's my birthday. And I gave him a K2 meter, and I'm like, here, go over by the mirror and see if anything spikes over there. So he's like doing something over there. And I went and sat on the 17th step, and I had my K2 meter sitting on the step, and I was recording, and I was, trying to get anybody to respond, anything, make a noise, anything. Nothing was happening. Like, to the point that I thought, are my things even on? Did I turn everything on? Like, anything on? Like, nothing, not even a blip. And I was like, this is weird. So we did that till like 1:30 in the morning, and with absolutely nothing, not even a feeling that something was going on. I was like, so disappointed. And I tell people on my podcast all the time, you can't just go somewhere for one night and think you're going to get a haunted experience. But even I was like so disappointed. Like, this is supposed to be one of the most, if not the most haunted house in the US at least, and nothing. And I've been wanting to go here for so long. I know everything about it. I know all the ghost stories. I know everything, and nothing really. So I was definitely very disappointed. We go to bed. And the other thing too is I got a migraine, and I have medication for my migraine, and I took it and it didn't help, which was sort of weird because it's usually pretty foolproof. I took a second one. Wouldn't budge. It was so bad, and I felt like there was a very strong smell in the room that was really bothering me. Nothing horrible, but it smelled like almost like a certain kind of carpet or something smell, and it was making my head hurt really bad. And the only reason I'm telling you all of this is because I think, looking back, I think this was part of the haunting, and I didn't know it because it's happened to me since in other haunted locations. I love having a TV on to go to sleep, especially after I've been doing an investigation, because I need to turn all of that off and just kind of focus on something else. There's no TVs in there. So I was just kind of like in the dark, trying to fall asleep and couldn't. There's a pond outside, and there's like 1,000,001 frogs out there, and they're just like chirping away. So I was sort of just listening to that. And all of a sudden, they just stopped, and it went dead silent in the house. And I thought, that was weird. And then all of a sudden just felt very heavy in the room. And then I heard boom, 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 up to the 17th step. We're the only ones that have access to those stairs. So I jumped up and I opened up the door. Nobody. And Nick's like, what's going on? And I was like, did you hear that somebody stepped up? He's like, yeah, somebody's out there. I'm like, nobody's out there. I get back in bed, and my head is like killing me. Like, I feel like I'm about to throw up. Like, it's so bad. And then all of a sudden it sounds like we hear furniture moving overhead. We are on the top floor. There is no floor above, but it sounds like above us, like furniture. Then we hear what sounds like little kids running around and playing. And the heaviness of the room was just so intense that I was even scared to like look around in the room. And we're laying there, and like every time we hear something, he would like grab me and go, did you just hear that? And I'm like, oh my God, yeah, did you just hear that? And we were just like back and forth. And then we heard like a electronic noise in our room. It was like a bloop, bloop noise, and we both sat straight up and we were like, what was that? Because that was in the room. And we're looking around. There's nothing like electronic in the room. Like, everything's very like how it was, back in the day. But my K2 meter is sitting on he forgot to turn it off, and it's sitting on the side of the bed, and it's like lighting up to red and then going back to green and lighting up to red, and like just keeps going like this. And he's like, it's your K2 meter, it's your meter thing, whatever it's called, But the ones that I have don't make noise. So I was like, but it doesn't make noise. And he's like, well, it has to be. It's lighting up. It's going crazy. And I was like, oh, Lord, that is not a good sign. Like, we are in trouble right now. Like, things are going crazy. I asked him what time it was, because he grabbed his phone and was like, it's 3 something. And then this went on until like 4 something. All of a sudden, I felt like the room just lightened up. Like, you just felt it lift and go away. The noises stopped. And I could just sense it was over. It was like 1 hour of just like pure terror of stuff going on, and feeling like, don't even open your eyes because there's somebody standing in this room. Like 100%. And being so terrified, but also like too sick to kind of enjoy it and investigate it and be a part of it. And at 7 a.m, they do biscuits in the gift shop, and I was like, oh, I can't miss that. Even though we got 0 sleep, I'm like, we have to go have biscuits. So we got up and we went into the gift shop, and there was this group of like older people, and they're like, was it you guys making all that noise last night? And we're like, it wasn't us. It wasn't us. And then the people that worked there were like, oh, what room were you guys in? And we told them what room, and they're like, oh, you made it through the whole night. Congratulations. Most people don't make it through the whole night when they stay in that room. It was scary. It was fun. It's probably the most scared I've been.
Bridget was one of the many guests that have reported unexplained and terrifying experiences, probably because it is the closest thing to sleeping in the mansion's historic heart. The room remains one of the most sought-after accommodations in the house, and sleeping in the suite tends to leave guests with the same conclusion. The Judge Clark Woodruff Suite is not just a historic bedroom, but a space where the veil feels particularly thin. It's one of the reasons she would like to return. Bridget's passion and abilities as a paranormal investigator have taken her to some of the most haunted places in the continent, including some of the destinations we've previously covered on Haunted Canada.
We were at the Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, Colorado. It was the inspiration for The Shining. And we were taken on this like VIP, like really cool, like ghost tour. And we were walking through the carriage house.
You'll remember from my episode from January 2025 that the Stanley Hotel sits about 5 miles from the entrance to the Rocky Mountain National Park. It is also known as one of America's most famous haunted hotels and gained worldwide fame after author Stephen King stayed there in 1974. King and his wife were reportedly among the only guests in the nearly empty hotel, and the eerie atmosphere inspired his novel, The Shining. The hotel's haunted reputation centers on stories of unexplained footsteps, phantom piano music, ghostly children on the 4th floor, and the spirit of former housekeeper Elizabeth Wilson, who was injured in the 1911 gas explosion in room 217. Guests have long reported strange occurrences in that room, making it the hotel's most famous paranormal hotspot. But Bridget's encounter didn't happen inside the hotel, but in the carriage house, which sits a little apart from the main building. Originally constructed in 1909, it was used for the Stanley's early automobiles and service functions, back when the property was still very much a working mountain estate rather than a destination hotel. Over time, as the main hotel evolved and expanded, the carriage house drifted into a quieter, more utilitarian role, eventually falling out of regular use for long stretches before being restored.
There was just debris everywhere, and now it's like fancy, and they do like weddings and stuff in there, and it's amazing. But it wasn't like that when I went there this first time. And we were walking up in the like kind of lofty, attic-y space of there, and there wasn't even like walkway the whole way. Like there was parts where it just goes through. So you had to stay on this one single file path. And it was the guide and then me and then Nick was behind me, and we're walking down the single file path, and something pulled his hair. And there's nobody else up there, and definitely nobody behind him. So I think that was his first thing where he was like, no, absolutely somebody pulled my hair. So like, what was it?
Bridget's passion for the paranormal hasn't rubbed off on her husband, who, even though he's been witness to some unexplained phenomenon, he still remains somewhat skeptic.
His dad was an astronaut because they're a very science-based family. And he's like, I don't know, I'll play along with you. Like, I'll be a good sport, but I'm not really interested in ghost stories. And then things happen. And he's like, oh, this place is haunted. We could stay there.
Her next haunted destination is also one that I'm hoping to cover in the future.
I'm going to be in Banff, and I'm going to be doing, I'm there for the media festival, but I'm going to be doing some paranormal investigating while I'm there, because I hear that is the most haunted hotel in Canada. So super excited. That has definitely been on there. And then the biggest one here for me is Waverly Hills. Are you familiar with Waverly? Yeah. So it's in Kentucky, and I don't have a lot of reasons to be in Kentucky, but I want to go just for that. Like it is the top thing on my list. I have had them on my podcast before, and they gave me a virtual tour. Like they walked me around with a camera, like what? So I got to, like I've been on the tour, but not really. But I should set up something with them. Like I should say I want to come and like maybe do an event or something and take a group with me my first time. I don't know. I feel like it could be fun to do something like that. Every time I talk to somebody on the podcast and I learn about a new location too, my list kind of changes and I was like, oh, that just bumped to the top.
For Bridget, traveling and ghosts go hand in hand.
We went to Scotland for my birthday, went to Edinburgh so I could go to all of the haunted things. That was incredible. I look for stuff every time I travel. Like I'm always like, okay, what haunted things can we do? And if it's not haunted related, I'm definitely always asking for the ghost stories. Like we were just in Italy last year and we were at the Colosseum and I was like, what about ghosts? Is this place haunted or what? Because it's got to be haunted, right? And she was like, actually, yes, the Colosseum is haunted. So I'm always on the lookout.
In many ways, Bridget occupies a unique place as a paranormal investigator. She began as one of the Playboy Mansion's most famous residents, while Holly Madison became one of its most prominent critics. Kendra Wilkinson largely distanced herself from it. Bridget often speaks about the mansion with a mixture of nostalgia, curiosity, and historical interest. She acknowledges its complexities while continuing to explore the stories, legends, and mysteries connected to the property.
I used to go down into the basement of the mansion, and like I said, there are secret passages that go to like the gym. It passes, there's like a lot of storage down there, the laundry area, the lockers. There's also another like kind of basement area underneath the game house area, and I explored that too. I was all over all that. I went down into the basement until like it turned into dirt, and then it got real low, and there was like a broken chandelier in there. I have explored that mansion from top to bottom, and I've never seen any tunnels there. Could they be hidden? Yeah. You know what happened? April Fool's Day. So people play jokes on each other, and the mansion thought it would be funny to say there was all these tunnels that went to celebrities' houses underneath the mansion, and they drew even like a diagram, like a fake diagram with these tunnels, and they put it out. It was an April Fool's Day joke, but it has just spread, and now people are talking about it being human trafficking. And I don't think people realize how difficult it would be to dig underground in LA and how many obstacles there would be for that. I think they just think this is real easy to like just dig underneath the streets and stuff and to other people's homes. If they exist, that's what I think happened. And it's such a rampant story now. Like there's no going back on it anymore. Like people believe hardcore. And I'm thinking, I was down there. I've like explored every corridor I could, and I don't know where it would have been. But I can't say 100%. Like, could there have been a room I didn't know about? I guess, you know.
Today, more than a decade after leaving, Bridget remains one of the most recognizable living links to the mansion's final and its most famous era. For many fans, Bridget Marquardt is not just a former resident of the Playboy Mansion, she is one of its unofficial historians. And since her departure, she has turned her personal fascination for the paranormal into her life's work. Her podcast, Ghost Bunny. She also participates in fan conventions and live events where she discusses both her Playboy era memories and her interest in the unexplained, blending pop culture history with ghost lore. Over time, this work has positioned her in a unique niche, someone who bridges reality television nostalgia with modern paranormal storytelling in a way that keeps her connected to both worlds. Thank you for joining me, and thanks to Bridget for her time. If you want to listen to Bridget's podcast, Ghost Bunny, I will link it in the show notes. Do you have a ghost story, paranormal encounter, or true crime? If yes, email it to me so I can cover it and share with all the listeners on this podcast. Email me through the website, hauntedcanada.com. If this episode gave you the chills in the best possible way, please consider supporting this show by buying me a coffee. The link is in the show notes. Every coffee helps keep these stories coming. And if you want to go even deeper, stay tuned because I will be adding a Patreon very soon. Haunted Canada is sponsored by the Edmonton Ghost Tours. I will link the website in the show notes. Haunted Canada is written and produced by me, Nadine Bailey, with senior producer Dila Velasquez. Production and sound design is by Rob Johnston with help from Corey Price. If you'd like to support this podcast, please follow, share, and tell a friend about this podcast. We would also appreciate a like and a 5-star written review. And if you're on Spotify, tap follow. It helps more people find these Canadian ghost stories. Also, you can follow me under different social media platforms, including TikTok and my YouTube channel, Haunted Canada. Hey everyone, I've got some exciting news. I'll be hosting a haunted and paranormal tour of Ireland in participation with my friend Joanne at Expedia. We'll be traveling to haunted locations, staying in haunted castles, and exploring many historical places while delving into ghosts, hauntings, and paranormal activity, so be sure to bring your EMF readers with you. This tour will be happening in May of 2027. All information is on the website hauntedcanada.com. If you have any questions, email me and I'll answer them the best I can, of course. Remember, space is limited, so book early. Again, thank you from all of us at Haunted Canada and Curious Cast. Have a good night, everyone, and stay haunted.